Okay, so let's start our session in cyber forensics, guys. And in previous sessions, we are already covered, that is the introduction of cyber forensics and the cyber laws. So today we are going to discuss about the next thing, that is the cyber forensics method. So today we are going to cover that is cyber forensics method, and let's see what we will cover in this particular whole chapter. So firstly, we need to understand like the challenges you are facing if you are working as a cyber forensic investigator. So sometimes investigator are facing few types of challenges if they are just going to find out the evidence, if they are just going to find out some types of clues from the evidence. So there are some types of challenges they are facing. So firstly we will going to discuss about that type of challenges, and after that we will see like types of forensic investigation. So we are just going to discuss about the types of investigations like on the basis of criminal investigation, on the civil investigation, and the administrative investigation. And after that we will discuss about the different types of evidence like the digital evidence, what is the role of digital evidence, what is actually the digital evidence, and how we can acquire the digital evidence from the incident place, and what type of volatile nature of data, what type of non-volatile nature of data. So we will discuss about these of things from in this particular today's session. So let's start our session. So firstly we need to discuss about like challenges about the cyber crime present to the investigator. So if you are working as a cyber forensic investigator, so firstly you need to face some types of challenges. So what is the challenges you are facing? The first challenge in this list, that is called as a speed. So what is that speed? Speed is basically defined you like we know very well that technology has boosted nowadays and they are just going to advance. So in that scenario, the cyber crimes are already speed up and they are committed with the different types of cybercrime by the cyber criminals. So in that scenario, whereas a cyber investigator requires some authorization and warrant before starting the legal procedure. So if the cyber forensic investigator wants to start any type of investigation phase, so firstly they need to require the authorization and a warrant before starting any type of legal procedure. So this is the one type of challenges which is faced by the cyber forensic investigator once they are just going to analyze, once they are just going to examine any type of cyber forensic investigation. The second type of investigation challenge, that is called as an anonymity. The different peoples are basically using the anonymity procedure for the investigator are basically facing some types of issue that is related to anonymity, because the cyber criminals can easily hide their identities by pretending as some other identity by hiding their IP addresses and proxies, so that the cyber criminals are using these things. So in that scenario, the investigator has some facing some problem that is related to the anonymity thing. The next thing, that is the volatile nature of evidence. So now what is that volatile nature of evidence? Volatile nature of evidence is means they are just most of the digital evidence can be easily lost as it is in the form of volatile data such as a log file, record, light pulse, radio signals, or the other means. So some types of volatile nature you can gather once the system is once the system is in on state. So you will get some data from there, which is called as a volatile nature of evidence. So that volatile nature of evidence is lost once the system is going to shut down. So once the system is open, so you will get some type of data which is called as a volatile evidence. So sometimes cyber forensic investigators face this challenge because they are just finding out that system is in on the off condition. So once they are is in off condition, then the cyber criminal cannot get any type of data which is related to the volatile nature of evidence. Now, the next thing, that is the evidence size and the complexity. So sometimes the cyber criminals are facing to gather some type of to maintain the integrity of that particular original evidence. So in that scenario, if the any type of cyber criminal is doing and performing some type of diversity as well as some type of manipulation things as well as the changes and distribute the nature of evidence as result in increase the evidence data and the complexity. So we can say that if the any type of changes is basically facing on that particular evidence files, so in that scenario where the cyber criminals are basically faced that the complexity issue of that particular original evidence integrity. The next type of cyber challenge is basically anti-digital forensic, that is called the ADF. Now, what is that? The ADF is basically called as the anti-digital forensics, and in that scenario, the cyber criminals as well as the attackers are these days now they are using the increasingly using of encryption of data hiding technique to hide their digital evidence. So that in that so that the result of that particular ADF, the investigators are facing some challenges, are facing some issues for the decryption of that original data. So they cannot find out, they can some types of problem to extract that original data from that particular encryption file. So this is the challenge nowadays are faced by the cyber investigator once they are just going to investigate any type of case. The next point, that is global origin and the difference in laws. So now what is that? Sometimes the cyber criminal as well as the predator can initiate the crime from the any part of the world. So whereas the authority has jurisdiction over domestic crimes only. So this is the meaning, like the point is basically defined, right? Like different types of cyber criminals are doing the different activities from a different place, which of any place of the world. So in that scenario, if the cyber criminal is doing the attack for the foreign country and they are caught by the cops in that your own country, so in that scenario, the cyber criminal get some punishment according to the domestic laws only. So this is the point, yeah, this is the challenge which is faced by the cyber investigator, which is called as a global origin and difference in law. The next point, next challenge, that is limited legal understanding. Nowadays, nowadays both multiple person don't have a knowledge about like they are just claim their incidents, they are just claim their particular evidence, and they are don't know about to unaware about the cyber law. So in that scenario, the limited legal understanding are faced by the cyber investigator once they are just during the cyber investigation. So this is the total 7 challenges which is faced by the cyber investigator once they are just going to analyze, once they are just going to find out any type of investigation in that. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, the next thing, that is cybercrime investigation. So now what is that cybercrime investigation? So firstly, we need to understand the cyber investigation points, and after that we will discuss about the type of cybercrime investigation. So let's start. So cybercrime investigation can involve with hard working collection of clues and forensic evidence with an attention to details. So in that scenario, we can say that like if you're working as a cyber forensic investigator, so firstly you need to involve for hard working. It means you need to perform some hard work for the collection of clues. You need to perform some hard work for the gathering of the evidence, and after that we can just analyze that evidence, we can just examine that evidence and find out that details into the attention form, as well as we can say that into the detailed form. So this is the point of the cyber crime investigation, which is called as the first point. The second point, that is it is mandatory that there will be at least one electronic device found during the investigation, and it will be, yeah, be it a computer, cell phones, printers, fax machines, maybe fax machines, etc. So if you're working as a cyber forensic investigator, so it's mandatory. Actually, it's mandatory. You need to find out at least one electronic device during the investigation. So once you are just find out any type of device during the investigation, so maybe one any type of electronic device. So electronic device could be anything like cell phones, like a computer, printer, fax, etc. So you can find these type of details from that particular cyber crime investigation. Then third point, maybe once you are finding any type of electronic device from that particular incident place, so maybe there is a possibility that you are all that finded device is a finded electronic device. Maybe converted to the central source of the investigation, and it could be value evidence for solving the case. So maybe sometimes that evidence is changed to the value of, like, it is going to switch at a central point, and via the analysis of that particular evidence, you can easily solve the any case. So this is the investigation process. In investigation, what is our next step? Our next step is basically, therefore the information contained in the device must be investigated into the proper manner in order to reply upon in a court of law. So sometimes, therefore the information contained in the device must be investigated. If you are working as a cyber forensic investigator, firstly you need to investigate that particular device in the use by the using of proper forensic sound manner. So you know guys very well, with the using of forensic sound manner, it means with the using of cyber forensic techniques and with the using of cyber forensic method and the methodology. So after that, once firstly you need to analyze that thing and just report that thing into the report file, presented file, and after that you just submit that file into the court. The next step, that is process such as collection of data, analysis, and presentation differ based on the type of case. So in that scenario, what we will do firstly, according to the cases, it is completely depending upon the investigation according to case. Sometimes the case is different, so the analysis, the data collection of data process will be changed, the analysis procedure will be changed, the presentation of the documentation, the presentation, all the things will be stored into the detailed file will be changed. So these are all the things once you are just working as cybercrime investigation, so you are facing these type of problems, and these are the steps which you are facing on that particular cybercrime investigation. Now let's discuss about the types of cybercrime investigation. So total we have three types of investigation cases. Like the first one, that is related to the civil investigation cases. The second one, that is called as a criminal investigation cases, and the third one, that is called as the administrative investigation cases. Okay, so let's discuss about each one by one. So the first one, firstly, you need to understand about what is the difference between the civil and the criminal investigation. So civil cases are brought for violation of contract. Sometimes, if you are working as a cyber forensic investigator and civil case in front of you, so you are facing, like, they are brought via a violation of contract, lawsuit, and where the guilty outcome generally result in economic damage to the prosecutor. So sometimes once any type of person is basically caught by the people and caught by the police cops, and that person is basically accepted that crime, and they are accepted, yes, I am the guilty. So in that scenario, the result of that particular case is basically the economic damage. It means they need to pay some type of money for the prosecutor, to the prosecutor. So this is the civil case process. And whereas the criminal investigation, in criminal investigation, the criminal cases are generally brought by the law enforcement agency in response to a suspected violation of law, whereas a guilty outcome may result in economic damage, imprisonment, or both. If any type of cyber criminal is basically involved, that is related to the criminal investigation, so firstly they will get some punishment, and also they will get some imprisonment as punishment, as a imprisonment, as well as they need to pay the fine related to that crime. So this is actually handled by the law enforcement agencies. So the law enforcement agencies are basically liable to set, like, what type of crime is basically doing by this particular cyber forensic, by this cyber criminal. So this is a major difference between the civil and the criminal cases. The civil case is not not a type of criminal case. It's just a normal civil cases, because no the cyber criminal is not involved in this particular, the big type of cyber criminal not involved in this particular type of cases. That's why these are all the case which is called as a civil cases.